Today, I'm going to share with you the 10 traits, the 10 actions and behaviors that the most successful of our clients have in common. These are going to be applicable specifically to a coaching business online, but I promise you this, success leaves clues. You can take these same concepts and apply them to a brick and mortar if that's where your focus is. All right, so number one is that they have one offer. They don't do 1,000 different things. And it's so funny when we're talking with prospective clients, we're like, hey, I want to have a look at some of your clients' websites. We're like, why? Like, we don't focus on websites. And if you went to their website, it would be a website from whoever knows when in the past. And that website might show a bunch of stuff that is no longer relevant. And the reason for that is because no one sees the website. We actually build, which I'll get to in a second, a much more predictable system. But first and foremost, our clients focus on one core offer. You see, where a lot of health experts just completely fall off the map is you go to their website and they have a suite of products or offers, and none of them do well. Coaching program, lower price coaching program, one-on-one, membership sites and products, an ebook. It's a complete waste of time. Complexity fails, but simplicity scales. So if you want to scale any business, not just a coaching business in the health space, you have to focus on one offer. And the way we look at this is one offer to one core target market, right? So you've got one target market. Those people have one problem that you solve, and you have one offer that solves the problem. It doesn't give little band-aid solutions. It fundamentally gets to the root cause of the issue and eradicates it once and for all. When you have that, you're able to add way more revenue and impact your business because of the price points and systems you have baked around that. So the first thing we want to consider is having one offer. Is everyone going to say yes to that? No, because you're not going to invite everyone to work with you. And it doesn't mean that you have to have multiple tiers of offers. It's a complete waste of time. It's going to distract you from focusing on what really matters. And even when you look at the most successful companies, as an example, like Apple, they have a huge product suite, right? But also please remember where they are on their journey relative to where they started. And even when you look at right now, their product suite, they're still 80-20. The vast majority of their revenue comes from a very small select number of their products. So for you who is not Apple, it's really important to really think about just do one thing extremely well, because if you do more than one thing, I promise you, you are going to struggle. The second thing that our most successful clients have in common is that they have a predictable, reliable client getting system. Now, a lot of health experts come to us because the number one thing they need help with is getting clients because no one knows they exist. So what they've been doing is they've been creating content, spending time on social media, hoping for referrals, and nothing's happening. Or maybe some of it is, but it's not growing fast enough. And as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of content, but please understand that I didn't do any content in this business for Healthpreneur for the first 3 years. My previous business, which was a health and fitness online business, back in 2005, I spent most of it was content. It took me 7 years to make my first $1 million. When I started Healthpreneur, I said, I'm not going to do that anymore, at least not in the early stage. And we went from 0 to $1 million in 7 weeks. How? By building out and perfecting what we call the perfect client pipeline. It's a predictable 4-step client getting machine that relies not on organic content, but paid traffic. And you might say, well, Yuri, isn't that risky? Well, it's risky if you don't know what you're doing. But here's the way I look at this, is if no one knows you exist, it doesn't matter how much content you create. No one's going to see it. So as long as you're an expert, and I'm talking about you're amazing at what you do, not just I got certified last weekend. That's a different story. But if you're world class, like our best clients are, you know that a cold prospect gets on the phone with you and they see you as the authority. If they will enroll with you, this system that I'm talking about is the only way to do this. Paid ads to an evergreen masterclass. From there, they book an application or book a call for an application, and then they speak with you. It's a 4-step system. 90% of it works on autopilot. It works 24/7. So while you're playing with your kids, sleeping, doing other stuff, it's still working for you. That's how you build leverage, through a system. Now, I'm not saying content doesn't have its place, but you have to have a system that's working for you before you spend all your time creating content. So if I look at my weekly time allotments at this stage of our business, Healthpreneur, which is a multiple 8-figure company, I spend a lot of my time creating content. But please understand, when I started, I spent no time creating content. All I was focused on was building and perfecting the system, because now the system works for me. And I have other people that are managing that. And I obviously, do my part to kind of optimize and add stuff in here. But when you move on, like when you've built the system and the system builds the business, then you have the luxury of becoming more of the creator, the quote unquote influencer, the messiah who's spreading the message. But please do not get the order reversed. You see, you're probably following a lot of people online who spend most of their time creating content. And you might think that because of how much time they're spending creating content, that's how they built their business. But I can guarantee you this, every single one of them that I know, and I don't know all of them, obviously, but all of the ones that I know, and I'm talking about the Tom Billius, the Gary V's, the Lewis Houses, etc. In every single one of those cases, they initially built a very successful business that they sold or exited, and now they have more time and money on their hands than they know what to do with. And so they still want to contribute to make a meaningful impact. And that's why they spend all their time creating content now, because they don't need the content to pay for their life. They already had a business that did that. But if you try to build a business based on content, man, it's going to take you a very long time to get there. So that's why our most successful clients understand the value of all that, but it's a long-term brand building game. But initially, to get to the first 7 figures in your business, you have to have a reliable machine to bring clients into your world like that. Number 3 is because they're running ads, they know their numbers like a hawk. They have a dashboard, they know exactly what their cost per lead is, cost per call, cost per acquisition, return on ad spend. And based on those numbers, they can make data-driven decisions, not feeling-based decisions, which is what a lot of amateurs do. And so they look at the data and they look at, okay, well, where's the data off? Like, where's the constraint in the business? Okay, cost per lead is too high. What do we have to do on the messaging front or the offer front on our landing page to make it more attractive for people to opt in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they can pinpoint in their business at any given moment what needs to be solved. And the reality is, if you're not where you want to be in your business, then the reality that you have to be aware of is, in spite of how busy you've been, if you've been working really hard and you're not where you want to be, you have to understand that you've been doing the wrong things. And that's maybe to no fault of your own. You just didn't know any better. Because here's the thing is, you can be very, very, very busy, but you have to understand there's a very big difference between motion and progress. You see, progress is about identifying the kink in the hose and understanding that nothing else matters in your business until you unkink that hose. Because you can be a lot of activity going on, but there's no productivity happening. So what we focus on with our clients and why they are able to grow so quickly is because we don't care about all the activity. There's only a handful of things that they do on a continual basis. And it's like, what's the constraint? How do we solve it? Solve it. Cool. Next, constraint here. How do we solve it? Solve it. Go. This is how you build a business. It's not through like goal setting and like setting up all these cool projects. It's all bullshit. You have data. You look at the data tells you where the issue is, you fix the issue, and you keep doing that over and over and over again. And if you're not doing that, well, you're going to struggle, right? And the hard part is when you have a business that is reliant on hope and pray, referrals, organic, maybe you get a magazine article once in a blue, like none of that stuff, you can't build a business on that. How are you supposed to scale that? Oh, like, where's the number? Where are the data points? When I was on Dr. Oz, a number of years ago with my New York Times bestselling book.
To find out more on Yuri's plan and read an excerpt from his new book, The All-Day Energy Diet.
We sold 10,000 copies of that book in an afternoon. But outside of that episode, what am I going to do? Like, I can say, okay, well, if I get on more Dr. Oz-like shows, we will sell more books. 100%, right? And that can be part of the game plan. But trust me, like, it's really, really nice to have that opportunity when you also have at the foundation of your business a reliable system that's bringing in clients no matter what. When I used to do a lot more speaking, I met a lot of professional speakers who spent 300 days a year on the road speaking on stages. Why? Because that's how they got paid. I'm like, I don't even want to speak on stage anymore because I make more money sitting at home hanging out with my kids because I have a reliable system that does most of the work for me. and I know my numbers, and it's like, well, if I'm getting paid for this speaking gig and I have to travel and spend this time over here, I can just make more being at home, building out what we're currently building. So please don't get confused with what's vanity and glamorous with what actually matters. And what actually matters is knowing your numbers based on having a reliable, predictable system that's giving you data points, and you can make educated, smart choices and decisions based on that. The fourth thing our most successful clients have in common is they charge premium prices, and they don't charge by the hour. I don't care if you're a therapist or whatever it is you do. If you think that trading time for money is a smart move, then by all means keep doing it, and I wish you all the best. But I'm telling you, like, our clients who make a lot of money help a lot more people. And it's not about how much time they spend with them. It's about charging for an outcome. It's about helping them understand that it doesn't matter how many one-on-ones you get with someone or how much time you spend with a client. It's actually about dissociating the time you spend with your clients and the results. Because if your clients' results are 100% reliant on how much time you spend with them, then you're screwed. And you'll have the business will feel like a ball and chain. You won't actually want to enroll more clients because you're like, if you bring in more clients, you work more hours. And that's exhausting. So being able to dissociate your expertise from the time you spend with your clients and be able to create leveraged assets like a curriculum that people go through on the inside so they can make progress on their own, even when you're not with them, is how our clients get better results. We call this transformational coaching as opposed to transactional care, which is what most people get in brick and mortars in a typical healthcare setting, right? They come in, they get a session, they swipe their card, cool, see you next time. There's no transformation there because the client is reliant on you, the practitioner. In this type of model, the client does most of the work. It's a coaching relationship, which means the client has to do something. And that's why they get better results, because they have more ownership of their own journey. We're teaching them how to tie their own shoes, as opposed to continually tying their shoes for them over and over again, and they don't learn anything. So when you're able to do that, you can charge a premium price for an outcome. If you help somebody lose 20 pounds or overcome Hashimoto's or reverse a condition, you can't even put a price on that, right? It would mean everything to the people you're serving. But the good thing is you're not asking for everything. You're asking for a small amount relative to what it's worth, right? $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 to transform someone's life is a drop in the bucket relative to what that means for them. But you have to be able to have that conversation for them to see the value in that. But nonetheless, it's about understanding that you don't need to have 1,000 clients. You might just need to have 10 clients or 50 clients who pay you substantially more money. It's less headache. You have better clients. They show up and do the work. Because they pay a premium price, they're more committed, right? The more they pay attention. And if they pay more attention, do you think that they will get better results? Yes. Why? Because they're actually doing the work. So the best thing you can do if you care about helping people is charge more. You're not going to help everyone for free. You're not going to help anyone who pays you little to nothing. And you're certainly not going to help anyone if they just get a random one-off session here and there. Commit them to a process, charge accordingly, and watch what happens. So that leads to the fifth thing our most successful clients have in common, and it's that they don't actually sell to clients. They selectively choose them. So the way that we teach our clients, well, first and foremost, health professionals are not sales professionals for the most part. If you don't like selling, totally cool. It's probably because you're not good at it. And we don't like things that we're not good at, right? So we tend to gravitate to the things that we're good at. I just want to coach my clients. I just want to help patients all day long because that's what you're fucking good at, right? But if you don't understand how to sell and you don't understand how to enroll clients, then you will never grow your business. But there are ways of selling that are douchey and slimy, and there are ways of selling that are the complete opposite. So our approach with helping our clients sell is actually something we call unselling. So if you're an expert, you're an authority, you're like the world class at what you do, in no universe is the prospect you're speaking to like more knowledgeable about the situation than you are. They're an expert at having the problem. You're an expert with the solution. So you shouldn't be selling anyone anything at the minimum, because remember, your reputation really matters. So is it in your best interest to enroll clients that are not going to do the work? No. So our whole approach is, in the conversation is really making sure the client is selling themselves to you. Because if they don't have what it takes to win, then it's your reputation that's on the line. Because if you enroll someone, they don't show up, they ghost you, they don't do the work, that's not good for you. But if you enroll the right people who show up and do the work and get great results, that's amazing. You don't need their money. You need their win. You need their social proof. You need their results from a marketing perspective, but also because that's why you're in business, is to help people fundamentally solve a problem they can't solve without your help. So when you understand that you are the prize and the prize never chases, please, you should never be in a conversation where you're begging a prospect to work with you, or you're trembling, or you're willing to give a discount. Never. You have to think of yourself as Simon Cowell.
What do you think I'm going to say to you?
No.
Correct. Goodbye.
And you're sitting back in a chair and you're like, please dance for me. Why should we consider partnering with you? Now, you don't have to say that, but that's kind of the energy. And it's not about being egotistical or narcissistic, but there's a shift in energy. When the client understands you don't need them, they want you more. And the more you push them away, the more they're going to pull themselves back into this. Okay, so our most successful clients get very, very, very good at this. And this is a skill, and very much like any other skill, like riding a bike, it's learnable. How do you learn it? Well, you understand how to do it properly, which comes from having the right guidance. And then you practice over and over and over and over again. And if that sounds like a lot of work, well, what's the alternative? You don't get good at this, you never enroll clients, and you stay stuck forever. So you get to choose, your path. But again, it's a skill and it's learnable. You became an amazing health professional. Now it's your opportunity to become amazing on the business front so you can actually help people with your genius. Number 6 is our most successful clients show up and do the work relentlessly, even when it's not fun. As you can probably tell, we don't have our clients do a bunch of different things. We're not doing summits and book launches and bullshit like that. We have them do one thing extremely well, and we just keep them on the sidewalk. It's like the bowling alley, right? When you put the little bumpers on where you're bowling with kids, working with adults is the same. But no. Come on back. Just stay on the sidewalk. Just roll the ball down the lane. Just stay within the confines. And sometimes it feels really boring. But I want to do this. No, well, listen, if you're here because you want to achieve these results, you're not going to get our results your way. And it's boring. It doesn't feel exciting. If you want excitement, go skydiving, do something else in your life. Don't build your business to bring excitement and novelty and dopamine into your world. That is a recipe for disaster. So part of our goal with our clients is to keep them maniacally focused on a handful of things that they do to ensure that the system and the business model that they are optimizing for is just like a well-oiled machine. Anything else that is not supporting that is a distraction. So what our most successful clients do is they just put the blinders on, like those horses with the blinders, and they just look in front of them and they know exactly what they're doing every single day, and they just keep doing it. That's it. Okay. There's no sexiness to this. There's no, oh my God, what's new and exciting? There's no new and exciting. It's what's the same, old and boring. It's these small 1% improvements over and over and over again. And I'll just use fitness as an example. It's like saying squats don't work. Well, they do, right? So if you just kept doing squats, you would build a very strong body, like posterior chain, legs, the whole bit. But what some people do, some trainers, as an example, because they get bored of even working on that with their clients, they'll have them do stupid stuff. Like, let's do Bosu ball squats, or let's stand on a stability ball to shake it up and spice it up. It's like, no, that's just dumb. That's just because you're bored. So please don't allow boredom to help you make the wrong decisions. Hey, we'll get back to the video in just a second, but before we do, if you're an experienced health professional who's wanting to grow your business online and you want a better, faster way to do so, and you're liking what we're all about here at Healthpreneur, click the link in the description to see if you qualify for us to help you scale your business 10 times faster without the grind and without the guesswork. Click the link below in the description, and let's get back to the video. Number 7, they're extremely coachable. There's one person that you can't work with and I can't work with, and that's an arrogant prick who thinks they know everything. Arrogant people should be eradicated off this planet. And there's a very big difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance is, I know everything, I don't need your help. Confidence is, I am really good at what I do, but I also have humility to understand I don't have all the answers. So our most successful clients are very confident because they are experts, but they also understand they're not experts in business yet. So they're very humble and they're very coachable. They lean in, they put their ego aside, and they're willing to take feedback, take action, implement it, and then come back for more. And so that's all you can ask for as a coach, is to say, like, your pupils, your students, your clients, just please take this advice and go do it. And they do it and they come back and like, cool, what should I do next? You're like, this, awesome. And that's it. Like, it's really simple. But if you work with someone who is not coachable, you can't do anything for them. And so that's why, in the nature of a coaching relationship, please understand, you as the expert have to show up to the fullest of your ability, but the client also has to as well. It's not a 50-50, it's 100%, 100%. And so when people ask me like, Yuri, well, why do some of your clients not get great results? Because I'm like, they don't fucking do anything. They get in their own head. Oh, like, I got to get everything perfect. I'm not quite ready. Just shut the fuck up and go. Right? So it's like, they're coachable, they get out of their own way, and they just move forward. So coachability is massively important. And I'm sure it's something you want to see in your clients as well. Number 8 is that they are driven by a big vision. Small goals lead to small actions. And when the going gets tough, that's when people are like, I think I'm going to change course and do something else. And that's one of my biggest role working with our clients, and to be honest with our team, is to constantly extend people's runways. I'm like, dude, you're at 20K a month. Why are you thinking so small? Why are you even comfortable there? That's like small for you. You haven't done anything. Congratulations, but you're just getting started. And so I never want someone to feel like they're fully satiated. You're not even close. I'm not even close. I will never be satisfied with where we're at, because there's always more. And it's like, well, yeah, you could always be happy with what you have. I'm like, I get that. I'm grateful for what I have, but I'm never satisfied. When you're a growth-oriented individual, you have a vision. You have like, you want to do what it is you want to do, right? And that's like, I understand that that's not right for everyone. Like, some people are totally fine doing nothing and being complacent and having small goals and living a small life. But our most successful clients who are building like industry-leading companies, they just have a bigger vision. And because they have that bigger vision, they show up differently. Small goals, small actions. Big goals, big actions. I've talked about this before. If you have an elastic band and stretch it, there's more potential energy there. But if you have an elastic band and you just barely stretch it, there's no energy. So if you want to have more energy on a daily basis, you have to have bigger goals. And so part of my job with our clients is to constantly stretch them. It's to constantly extend their runway. And because when people run out of runway, they fall back to what's safe and what's comfortable. They start to coast. And you can only coast one way, down. Like, you don't go faster by coasting. Like, you only go down by coasting. And so our most successful clients have this internal drive to want to like get better. It's not because they necessarily just want to make more money. It's because they have this internal desire to grow, to become the best version of themselves. And I've noticed this with myself and with a lot of successful people, is that it's no longer about the money, right? Like, when I personally set intentions and goals now, it's like, I don't give a shit. Like, the only goal is to get closer to the best version of myself. And that's it. And there's like micro habits underneath that. So then all like the impact and the revenue and all that stuff, that takes care of itself. So they're not as focused on just the outcomes. They're focused on the process of who they get to become in that journey. And it's because they have a drive to want to become the best in whatever way that looks for them. Number 9 is that they believe in themselves. There are times when a lot of people that are especially closest to you, they're not going to believe in you, right? They're going to want to keep you safe. They're going to want to keep you in the little bubble that they have already created in their mind about who you are. And unfortunately, if your closest friends and family don't support your bigger goals, you want to be able to get around people who do. And so our most successful clients have an insatiable belief in themselves. And some, like, I'm not saying that they don't go through moments of doubt, that they don't experience fear. For sure that they do. But they're willing to tap into their courage, because again, like, they have that big why, that big vision. And so when you have a big vision, it allows you to move through a lot of these obstacles and these moments of doubt, and always tapping back into that self-belief of like, I can figure this out, right? Maybe not by myself, but at least with the right kind of mentorship and community, I can keep going. I can figure this out. Because in life, you will get exactly what you believe you're worth. And if you believe you're not worth a lot, well, you're not going to get a lot. And so when we look at clients who do very, very well, I can smell that early on, because I can see that self-belief. I can see that desire for them, just how they show up magnetically. It's part of who they are. And sometimes they have to borrow our belief because they're like, man, like, they might be going through periods of challenge and doubts and anxiety. This is all part and parcel with the road of building a great business. So it's like, listen, dude, borrow my belief. Okay, borrow my belief for what I know is possible for you until your belief catches up. But nonetheless, there's this baseline belief that they can do this. The people that we cannot help are people that don't believe it's possible for them. I'm a chiropractor. There's no way I can do this online. Really? Because we've got chiropractors that are crushing it. How can they possibly do that? Listen, all I'm asking is that you have an open mind. But if you don't have an open mind and you don't believe it's possible for you, well, there's nothing I can do for you. So you have to have that baseline belief. Because remember, when you went to school to become the practitioner you are, you didn't know how to do what you do now before you went to school. That's why you went to school. But at some level, there was a belief that in your mind, like, if I do this, I will be this person and I'll have this type of career afterwards. So at some level, there was a belief that even prompted you to spend $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 on an education that for most people is useless. Now, as practitioners, it's different because we become technical experts, but there needs to be this core belief that you can do more than what you're currently doing with your hands. You can do more than what you're currently doing seeing people in person. That there is a bigger world out there for you beyond the four walls, if that's kind of where you're at right now. And the 10th thing that our most successful clients have in common is a big one. And it's this. They are obsessed about becoming as good in business as they are as a health practitioner. This is one of the biggest divides. I see so many arrogant practitioners who, because they have a lot of letters behind their name, I'm like, too cool for school to do anything. So they outsource everything, whatever it is that they do, like seeing their patients all day long or whatever. So they outsource their marketing, they outsource their sales, they outsource the business operations, and they completely fuck their business. They completely destroy it because they put it in the hands of other people who don't give a shit, who are not good enough, or they outsource to the agencies or cheap VAs. And if there's anything you get from this video, this is the biggest warning I will give you, is if you do that, you might as well sign away your business right now. Just go to the bankrupt office, whatever that is, and just call it a day. If you do not take ownership for every part of your business, you won't have one. But Yuri, I don't want to do everything in my business. Good, I don't want to do everything in my business, but I did for as long as I needed to until I had the money to hire other people. I don't do most of the stuff in my business now. We have an amazing team and they do a lot of it. Please understand this though. When I started Healthpreneur, I did everything. I wrote the ads, I managed the ads. I did the sales calls, I did the coaching, I did the ops, I did the admin, I did the client tracking, I did everything. But now I do none of it. But it doesn't mean that I got it off my plate right away. Because the only way you can build a good business is by hiring people who are excellent at what they do. But if you as the owner do not understand the different parts of the business, when you hire people to do those, you will be completely clueless about what's happening. You won't know what good looks like. You won't even know what bad looks like. And then you'll be like, why does my stuff suck? Well, it's because you're working with people who are fundamentally shit. And I see this as well. Like when I'm talking to someone who's like, relatively early on in business, and they're like, yeah, my marketing manager. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about marketing manager? You're making $5,000 a month. Who's doing the marketing in your business? No one should be on your team at $5,000 a month. If you're making 15, 25, 30 in a coaching business with premium prices, you still should be doing everything. I'm serious about this. At about the 30 to 40K per month mark, that's when you can start thinking about maybe I can get some of these $10 an hour tasks off my plate. If you think you are going to grow your business to multiple seven figures by outsourcing and delegate everything early on, you will never get there. But please understand, I'm not saying you're going to do everything in your business forever, but there's a moment where you have to. One of our clients, she's doing $2.5 million a year right now. She was refusing to do sales calls. She's like, I don't want to do sales calls. I'm going to just have my office manager do them. And I'm like, hey, you got to do these calls. Like no one else is going to sell your coaching the way you will. And you have time. Like at this stage of your business, you got to do it. This is before she's doing 2.5 million, right? And it took her like a year and a half to finally get it. And then she did. And then she's like, oh my God, I actually really enjoy doing this. And she's told me this a handful of times. She's like, Yuri, I wish I would have done this sooner, because if I had taken your advice and actually gotten out of my own way and done my own sales calls, which would have been 10 to 15 calls a week, which is not insane. She's like, our business would be at 5 to 6 million right now. So it's all good. It's all learning. It's all part of the process. Life experience teaches. My words can only warn, okay? But please do not take this lightly. Building a business online is in no way, shape, or form even closely related to building a brick and mortar. A brick and mortar, you can be a practitioner and build a successful business in spite of yourself. Why? Because people just see your thing. Like they walk down the streets, they're like, oh, clinic. Online, the biggest danger you face is no one knows you exist. So if you can't become visible, you are toast. And that's why so many health professionals struggle. And then they come to us because they don't know what to do. And then we're like, hey, you have to build the skill of becoming a business owner. And they're like, I don't want to do that. It's like, great, you're going to stay broke. But the people who succeed with our help are like, got it. I can put in some time every day to install these systems, to build these skills, because I'm going to become as dangerous in business as I am a health practitioner. And so like, please, please, please take this final trait or behavior with a serious amount of attention. You have to be willing to write your ads, write your emails, manage your ads, do your sales calls, build your product, coach your clients, do all the admin, do all the ops for a season. And then as you understand where you're moving the needle, i.e. your sales calls, you will make so much money, you'll have all this margin, then you can hire the right people. And then you have to manage and get to lead them. And now the nature of your role changes. But if all you want to do, and I'll finish with this, if all you want to do is treat patients all day long, do not start your own business. Stay in the clinic, be happy with the paycheck you're making, and burn yourself to a pulp. That's the only way. That's the only way you win this game. It's not even a win. That's the alternative, is you learn how to build a business or you stay grinding away on the table with patients all day long, okay? So those are the two paths you have. Which one do you want to choose? Doesn't honestly matter to me, but I'm just sharing the 10 things our most successful clients have in common. These 10 traits and actions have allowed them to build businesses that are in the high 6, 7, 8, and even 9 figures. So if you want to even replicate any degree of what they're doing, please take these to heart. Let me know in the comments which one really hits true for you, and I'll see you in the next video. If you want to grow a successful business without killing yourself in the process, these 5 morning habits will change everything. They've helped me stay focused, energized, and build a thriving 8-figure business, and I have no doubt they'll help you too.